Hello guys, welcome to Cook to Nourish. Today I'm going to show you how to make non-dairy cheese, and this uses cauliflower. So this is nut-free, so also AIP cheese essentially, and it also tastes good. So this is what it looks like after you have stored it in the refrigerator, and you can actually make nice slices out of this. Let me show you. I actually cut a small slice, but I'll show you how easy it is to, how easily sliceable it is. Oops, but you get the idea. There you go. That's, and let's do a taste test. Garlic and cheesy, really good. And you know what else you can do? You could also shred it. So I'm going to show you how to use the box grater and actually shred it. There you go. You have those absolutely shreddable cheese that you can put on top of pizzas. I like to put it on top of the cassava flour pizza or cauliflower pizza crust. So cauliflower and more cauliflower and cauliflower, but you can just use it for anything. I just like to eat it just like a snack too. All right, so let's see how to make this. So we first start with taking raw cauliflower. I have about half of a medium-sized cauliflower florets here, and you need about 2 cups of that. Now, best thing would be to weigh the cauliflower and take around 7 ounces of it. So even you could use even like cauliflower rice if you have, and take about 7 ounces or 200 grams of it. Then next what we need to do is we need to steam it, and I like to have my steamer basket on top of the vessel like that. Next we'll have 3 tablespoons of gelatin we need. So we need to soak them in coconut milk, so I like to place them in a bowl first. Sprinkle the gelatin like in a bowl, and then add the coconut milk on top of it, and then let it sit for a few minutes. Okay, now I've steamed my cauliflower for about 10 minutes until it's tender and cooked. Then you can turn the heat off, and we are ultimately going to be blending everything. So here, that's our gelatin and coconut milk. Now, because my bowl was a little bit small, some of the gelatin on the bottom didn't get mixed very well with the coconut milk, so that's why I'm adding a little bit extra, one more tablespoon of water, so that there's no dry gelatin. You may or may not need it depending upon what kind of bowl you use to mix the coconut milk, but just make sure that there is no dry gelatin. Gelatin always needs to be wet and bloomed first for it to really be effective in your recipe. So next, basically I'm adding this to the blender. I'm going to try here using the magic bullet. We'll actually see how that goes. And so now, since that jar is almost full, I'm going to add only about a tablespoon of the tapioca flour, and add the rest later. And then I'm adding 2 tablespoons of coconut milk. I'm just going to start blending this and see how this goes, and then add the rest of the ingredients since it is already full. You could already start using another big blender, and then you could add everything together at once. So now I'm adding the rest of the tapioca flour, which was two more tablespoons. In all we added 3 tablespoons of tapioca flour. Then we need 2 teaspoons of apple cider vinegar, that's for the tartness, and about 3/4 teaspoon to 1 teaspoon of sea salt. I like to use 3/4 teaspoon, but you can add more depending upon how much salty you want it. And next, only about a 1/4 teaspoon of turmeric. That's more for the color than flavor. And lastly, our nutritional yeast, which is what will give it the cheesy flavor, and that's 4 tablespoons of nutritional yeast. Now, mind you, I experimented with different numbers of nutritional yeast. So for me, I actually prefer the taste when I put 3 tablespoons of nutritional yeast as opposed to 4 tablespoons. But if you really like more cheesy flavor, then go for the 4 tablespoons. And lastly, just a tablespoon more of coconut milk. Again, I'm going to give this magic bullet a try, but I don't think this is working that well. As you can see, it's not blending properly. So magic bullet is not really a good blender for you for this recipe. So after this fail, I'm actually going to transfer this to another my other blender jar and blend it there. So there you go. So this is my other blender that I'm going to use now, and that's a high powered blender. So your best bet would be to start with that and not experiment like I did. Don't waste your time with the magic bullet or other small blenders. So that's my Preeti mixer to the rescue. I love this brand and I've been using it for years. So there you go. I get like the perfect texture. It's all blended perfectly. And now we have one last step of cooking it for about 4 to 5 minutes on low heat, so that it just cooks a little bit, because the tapioca flour that we've added needs to cook because it was raw. So just on low heat, but you always need to be stirring it, constantly stirring it. Do not let go of that. And it'll take about 3 to 4 minutes for the, you will come to know when it is done, because as you keep stirring, the mixture will become thicker. And as it cooks, the texture will change and it'll become really thick, and it'll start sticking to the sides of the saucepan, and that's when you know that it's done. See the texture, that's when you know it's cooked. And then you turn the heat off, and now I have an oiled container here. So I had only the smallest, like a rectangular container, but if you have a deeper container, you could use that too. A smaller and a deeper container, then you would get like a thicker block of cheese. But I had only this one available, so I went with this. Next, just place in the refrigerator for about 2 hours for it to set, and then you can easily get it out. Since we have oiled the container, it's easy to get it out and then cut it into slices. So it's really easy. Again, as I said, if you use a deeper and a smaller container, then you would have had a thicker slice. Use a sharp knife to cut it, and be careful, of course. And there you go, that's your cheese. And as I showed you in the beginning, you can also grate it. Thank you for watching. I hope you like this recipe. Please be sure to like this recipe as well as subscribe to my channel. Thank you.